Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, g'day curd nerds. Well, g'day curd nerds. Well, g'day curd nerds. Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Welcome to Ask the Cheeseman. I'll just turn that music down as she's a tad loud. There we go, that's better. Welcome to the show, one and all. Lots of people watching today. It's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me today on this lovely Sunday morning or Saturday afternoon, wherever you may be. This is episode 243. And of course, big thanks goes to all of the financial members of the show. Without their support, there wouldn't be a twice weekly show plus videos, which I've been working on diligently this week. Oh, that's what I forgot to show. I haven't showed those. There we go. That's better. Will that fix up? There we go. The little bits up the top. Can't miss those. What do we do? Right. I was thanking patrons and members. Right, there we go. So, there's a list of all the wonderful YouTube members. Thank you, one and all, for supporting the show on a monthly basis. Of note, Lisa Northam was the last member that joins. Thank you, Lisa. And to all the patrons, Robin Wickens, thank you, Robin, who I think is in the chat as well as... Spice Packs, I think that's it. Yeah, it could be. I think that's right. Anyway, thank you so much for all of your financial support, and thank you to all the YouTube members, past and present, to keep the show going. So, very cool. What have I got planned for this week as far as videos go is 5 cheese balls. Still working on a working title. That is the working title, 5 cheese balls. But some suggestions from the crowd on Wednesday were Christmas cheese baubles, jingle balls, or great balls of fermented dairy. If anybody else has got any suggestions for a catchy little title for the video, then throw them in the chat. That would be very cool. Okay. And of course, I'm working on the second Gavin Reacts. That should be up for members and patrons sometime tonight, so I'll have that done. As far as my book that I recently put into paper, the hang on 2 seconds. Keep Calm and Make More Cheese, more recipes from the Cheeseman by me. I've sold over 35 bundles now. And they just keep coming, so that's fantastic. So I do have a bundle deal on the website. So we have Keep Calm and Make Cheese, which is the original version. This is the beginner's guide. And then the extra recipes and some more troubleshooting in the second book. So they're all available for wherever we ship in the world. And you can get those over at littlegreenworkshops.com.au. So they're selling well, so I'm very pleased with that. Okay, so let's say g'day to a few people. First curd nerd in the chat today was Herb. G'day Herb, lovely to see you, mate. And Bill. Hello Bill. Shauna in Tassie. G'day Shauna. Who else we got early? There's a lot of chitty chat going on. Ciel. Hello Ciel. In mid-Victoria somewhere. Spice Packs, Titus, Donna, hello Donna, Patty, hello Patty, and who else we got? Howlin, and Big Shoe, and Michael and Jenny, hope you're recovering Jenny, Steve, g'day Steve, John, Habib, thanks for the video, mate. I managed to, we're going to be able to display that somehow, so that's good. What else we got? What else? Who else? Not what else. Peter, hello Peter. Is that the same Peter that's in Zambia? I hope the time zones are friendly for you there. And Fun Pants 94, thanks for the photos, appreciate it. Judy, hello Judy, how are you? C. Skarston and Rolando in Norway. Nice to see you, mate. Lovely. And Katarina. Festive Fromage. That's a good suggestion too. Maybe I'll combine two of the suggestions. Fromage. Right, there we go. Just writing them down so I don't forget them. Alrighty. All right, I'm sure we've got some questions somewhere. Let's have a look. Do we have a question? I don't know. Oh, here it is. Big Shoe has a question. Something about aging. The first one I've lost already. This says, what is the best way to check on cheese that is aging? Taste test, or are there other methods? There is indeed. There is what's known as a cheese trier. This little device here, put it in front of my head so it focuses. So it's a little metallic device. Let me just get it out of the packet. Show and tell on a Sunday morning. Lucky I have these things at hand. So there's the device there. There we go. It's going to focus. It's focusing on all sorts of stuff, and there we go. No, don't want to. Right, here we go. We'll focus here. So basically, it's a tool where you insert it into the cheese, give it a twist, pull it out, and a core of cheese is on here, and you can taste the inside. And what you can do then is you can judge whether or not the cheese is ripe enough without destroying the structure of a cheese. Now, they're better used for really large cheeses. For the small cheese maker, you can certainly use it. That's no problems at all. But it's better if they're used on big cheeses, or you can use them on blue cheeses as well, because you can't really tell if there's veining in the blue cheese. So I like to use a cheese trier to do that. But there you go. That's the best way to check on cheese aging without destroying the structure of the cheese. Okay. Jingle balls. Yeah, oh, okay. I've got that one. Yeah, that's a good one. Herb's suggestion is, do you have the balls to make your holiday dinner great? That is quite a good one there, Herb. Let's write that one. Do you have the balls? Ah, nice. I'll have to make it a little bit smaller and catchier, but yeah, I like that one. Thank you, Herb. Very cheeky. Judy says she's juggling 2 7 a.m. meetings on a Sunday. Goodness me, but thanks so much for the great gift. That's okay, Judy. I was just about to announce that. The giveaway winners, and Judy is one of them, were the 2 T-shirts that I showed last episode, I think, and the one before that, obviously. So 2 Aussies won the T-shirts. It was picked at random. The computer picked it. I didn't pick it. The winner, that is. So it was Judy McDonald. Thank you, Judy. And Philip Webster was the other gent that won the T-shirt. So as I find things, or Kim finds cheese paraphernalia that I've forgotten about, then we will be doing giveaway. Giveaways are good fun. Okay. Alrighty. Peter in Zambia says it's 11:05 on a Saturday night. Yes, nice. Dairy Airs, hello from Indiana. Hello, how are you? Patricia, hello Patricia, lovely to see you. In Chile, Halifax. Yes, Chile, Melbourne too. We had a cold snap last night, but I'd love it if we actually had some warm weather soon, seeing this is the last week of spring. So, okay. Funpants says, do you have a couple of cheeses or recipes you made that you are most proud of, either due to a recipe you developed or how technically complicated they were? Good question. I like these questions. Yeah, I was particularly proud of the Petite Blue. That was just something I threw together. Well, I didn't throw it together. I tested it first. But the Petite Blue and the paste, it doesn't... It's a blue cheese that has blue on the outside, a bit like a camembert, and it doesn't have any veining on the inside. You don't actually pierce the cheese. But because it's such a small cheese profile, the blue Penicillium Roqueforti flavour goes all through the paste, and the paste is gooey, which is... I kind of love that. So I was very proud of that one. Let's have a think of another one. Yeah, there's a few others that I've developed, like the Bloomy Goat Blue. That was very nice. I enjoyed that so much. There's other cheeses that I've developed that I've really enjoyed. But look, I just enjoy making all of them, really. But yeah, great question. Thanks for that. Herb says, I have a cheese trier that was used at Kraft in the US long ago, stainless steel. Yeah, that one's stainless steel too, Herb. They last forever. C. Scarson says, how do you preserve moulds, as dry, fluid or dry? Because the last time I produced a normally home-running cheese, and now the cheese is not like in former times. But on the other side, I put some bread. Not sure. Bread better? No, not sure what you're talking about. But how do I preserve the moulds, as in the cultures? Right, so what I do, and here's my trusty little culture jar. There we go. Can we have a look? There we go. So it's a little sterile container. I send these out to anybody who orders the stuff from the shop, from our shop, with cultures. And I find these are much better than... some of the cultures come in little Ziploc bags. Some come in sachets that once you've opened them, they can tend to go gluggy. So what I do, and I suggest to anybody, is... Oh, now I've not made it sterile, but this is mine. So just take the cap off, open the bag up, pour the total contents in there, screw the lid on tightly, and don't forget on the little label to fill in the name. I know this is a specimen jar, but there's no specimens in it. But fill in the name, put the name of the culture and when the best before date is. And you won't have any issues with the cultures going gluggy or anything like that. I think Patricia had a comment in there somewhere too about cultures going gluggy. Where is it? There we go. So if they go gluggy, it means they're starting to rehydrate. They've got some kind of moisture for whatever reason, and they're starting to become active. But because they don't have any lactobacteria, they don't have any lactose to eat, they will die off, so they don't become very viable. So first Curd Nerd Light of the day. Thank you very much, CL. And she says, thanks as always, Gavin. Thank you to you for the $10. Very kind of you. Yeah, so Patricia, they go gluggy because they've absorbed moisture from somewhere. And really, I have not had very good success if I've tried to use some. The cultures don't breed properly, or they don't multiply properly in the milk. So, good question. Thanks, mate. C. Scuzzin said, I put some bread mould in a bottle and this mould smells after a couple of days. Okay, so wild mould like that may not be the correct strain of, say, Penicillium Roqueforti. I certainly wouldn't use that unless you've inoculated the bread yourself with something. So it's best when you're trying to make your own molds or cultivate your own molds. It's best to use rye bread. So dark rye bread seems to work the best because it's firmer as well. And if you can spread a little bit of blue mold from a cheese that you've bought previously, and if you can just smear that on, you will find that you'll get a much better result of cultivating your own blue mold on rye bread. And then you just take a little bit of the mold off the rye bread, mix it with some milk before you add it to the milk when you're making cheese. So that's the best way to cultivate that sort of mold. Okay. CL says, I taught some co-workers how to make halloumi when we were at a conference in Dalesford recently, and I led a cook-along for 20 people. So fun. Well done. Yeah, I started off by teaching people how to make paneer, ricotta, and a quick mozzarella, and I did that at the local community centre for quite a while. But every time I'd schedule one, I had a minimum of 3 people for the class. And sure as eggs were round, and it didn't cost very much. I think it was like $60 Australian or something for 3 cheeses, which I thought was really good value. But people kept pulling out, so I kept cancelling them. And in the end, I just said, sorry, we're not teaching anymore. Then COVID struck, and because Kim's immune compromised, we don't do workshops anymore. So we kind of err on the side of caution. CL followed that up and says, the curds look great, but when we pressed it, it remained quite wet and didn't hold its shape when we went to cut the segments. Would that be we didn't drain long enough? Still tasted great. As far as halloumi goes, yes, you've got to press it for that 2 hours, so it does firm up under the 2 boards like I've shown in the videos. If you don't drain it long enough, it won't firm up when you put it into the very hot whey for it to come and float back up again. Big Shoe says, how long can you age cheese? I remember reading cheddar can be aged for 30 years. I bought some 18-year-old Pinconning and a 14-year-old cheddar. How long can you age cheese? As long as you want. As long as you take care of it and make sure that the temperature's right during maturation, you shouldn't have too many problems. Remembering that cheese making is basically just the controlled rotting of milk. So, as long as you keep care of it and it doesn't get infected, then you can age it for as long as you want. CL says, and now, this is the class, they also have superpowers. I work at the Stephanie Alexander Kitchen Garden Foundation, and they are all big home-based food producers. Well done, mate. Spreading the curd nerd word. That's perfect. Dr. Ganjamin says, g'day, Grand Curd Nerd. My waxed Jarlsberg cracked 3 weeks into maturity. Can I vac pack it? Thanks. The wax does crack on the Jarlsberg. That's just what it does because it's expanding. It's growing the eyes or forming the eyes inside the cheese. I tend to just re-wax back over where the crack is personally. But if it's expanding quite a bit, and if it's like, if you think it's expanding too much, then if you put it back into the cheese fridge at 13 degrees Celsius out of its warm period, then you'll find that all slows down just about to 0, and the cheese will just mature as it does. But I just re-wax over the cracked bit personally, so you can do that. C. Scarson says, question number 2. What do you press the cheese with? Because the whey can also disappear without press. Oh, why do you press cheese? Right, okay. So, obviously you press cheese to get rid of some of the moisture in the cheese. The harder the cheese, the heavier it gets pressed. So the more weight is applied to the cheese to remove that whey. Without pressing a cheese, like for instance a blue cheese, which you can make blue cheeses without pressing them, because you want the air pockets to be in between the bits of curd so that the blue mold can grow. That's why you don't press cheeses like Stilton or Gorgonzola or anything like that. So you want those air pockets to be there. But with other cheeses, harder cheeses, you don't want those air pockets to be there. You want a nice smooth paste. So you're pressing that not only to consolidate the curd and create the rind, but to release a lot of the moisture in the cheese as well. Because having more moisture in the cheese, the moister the cheese, the quicker it deteriorates. So the harder and least amount of moisture, the longer you'll be able to age the cheese for. Good question, though. Jean says, "Hi Gavin, my Castle Blue has developed a healthy dose of furry white mold after a week in the cheese cave. There is blue developing too, but the white fur is worrying me. Any advice?" Look, they do tend to grow kind of together. Depends if you've got an infection in your cheese cave, but sounds like you might do. I'm thinking, so pat the white down so it doesn't grow, so, with your hand, and that'll kind of get rid of it. If you wipe the outside of the cheese, that will deter the blue mold as well. So just keep patting the white down to kind of inhibit its growth so it doesn't put up its little whiskers, as they tend to do when they grow. But the white mold will be okay, but hopefully the blue, you put enough blue in there and that will overtake the white. But making sure everything's sanitized where you mature your cheese is absolute key to getting a good maturation for your cheese. Okay. Anthony Atkinson says, "G'day all." G'day Anthony, and thanks for those photos and that lovely email. They'll be in the gallery later in 6 minutes. Patricia says, "Wondering if you tracked down any of that driftwood Aussie cheese wrapped in bark." I haven't bought any, but I found the company that makes it. I think Ciel lives near where they are, and she actually told me that there is a company in the town. The company is in the town that she lives in, so that's very interesting. And I want to reach out to them and see if I can find some. In fact, there we go. It's made down the road from me in Castlemaine at Long Paddock Cheeses. So they do a wrapped cheese, which is very cool. Another question from Ciel says, "I have a plan to build a cheese cave into a hill on my property. Do you have any experience with earth caves?" I know this is where it all started, but I don't know of any in Australia. No, I don't have any experience digging caves. I've got experience in a lot of things, Ciel, but not digging caves, unfortunately. It's probably best to talk to a construction person or an engineer to do that, but no. Goodness me. Okay. Aditya, I think that's how you say it. When I see someone make raclette cheese dish, usually they heat a big block of cheese. I wonder how to maintain the cheese for a long run after one day's use so they do not spoil it or anything. Just curious. When they're doing that, so when they have a raclette, they have it on a raclette griller, it's called, I think. And then they just heat one side of the raclette. They've had it cut in half. It's held in a machine. And they scrape off the melted cheese. Now, when they're doing that, they're going through wheels and wheels of cheese, so they don't keep it or anything. But what they can do, they can put the cheese come the end of the day, and they've got some spare, of course. They'll just put it back in the fridge, and it should be good to go. But the whole cheese doesn't melt. They do the flame or whatever, the little griller components just on the exposed bit that they just scrape off. So I think that's the question. Okay. Krogan Love, hello mate. Problem with wild blue mould is that most strains produce bitter tones and won't produce the same results twice. There you go. So that's why I suggested, and good idea. And some more information is, if you want to try capturing good wild blue, take some dark rye bread, leave it outside, cool breezy night, bag it and date it in the morning and watch it grow. Indeed. And it's probably best if you don't want to go the wild route, like I said, find some cheese that you like that has a nice blue flavour and take some of the mould out and spread it on the bread, and that'll grow as well. Okay. Seascars says, I've bought milk, but I don't know yet which cheese I should produce of this. Any ideas in the air? Yeah, definitely. So go and have a look at my video, the best cheeses to make without a cheese fridge, and there is a list of about 5 or 6 different cheeses that you should just try. Just do it. I know you've been watching the channel for a long time. I remember you being in the chat for ages. But yeah, just do it. Just make the cheese. Doesn't matter which one it is. Pick one and go for it, and you'll be surprised with your success. And once you get a few successes under your belt, you'll make lots of different other ones. There's heaps. Okay. CL says, I found out the connection too. The cheesemaker who founded Long Paddock travels all over the world and has been to the USA working with someone to make something similar. They're talking about the spruce wrapped cheese. But it's very cool. Okay, so it's time for, we'll do the gallery early because there's heaps of photos. So let's do that. I love the gallery. The gallery is cool. Okay, so let's bring this up. Is this going to work? Here we go. So the gallery today is brought to you by many people. Where is... Okay, so the first one is from Anthony. It says, hi there, Anthony here. I've been making cheese for about a year now. I had seen a few of your videos around, but I can't believe it took me this long to really explore your content and become a member. I should have done it long ago. I'm not going to say nothing, mate, but yeah, you should have. When I go for something, I tend to do it all the way or not at all. And cheese making has been no exception. In order to introduce myself properly, please allow me to show off a bit of my prior work. Attached, you'll find 7 photos that are numbered, and here are some descriptions. Number 1, which is the one on the screen right now. This is my baby, the Magic Cheese. It's a converted Magic Chef brand fridge with an Inkbird temperature and humidity controls. That's good. I like that. Very cool. In the cheese fridge, it says, this is the fullest the Magic Cheese has ever been. I was beaming with pride when I took this photo. That is absolutely fantastic. I can see you've got a lot of cheeses that are naturally ripened there. And you can see that it's quite humid as well, because you've got a little humidifier down here. So that's very cool. Okay, so some individual cheeses. This Camembert, that turned out very well, although some bee linens migrated over from my Port Salut at the very end. It tasted great though. Yeah, great paste. That looks really good. Well done, mate. This is probably the most visually stunning cheese I've ever made. It's the Fleur Azul blue cheese in the Mastering Artisan cheese making book. That does look really good. Good blue cheese, and I love the way the veining. I can see that you've taken a core sample there, just here, which is very cool as well. Well done. This one here is, this is what I called Mulense. Oh, okay. Since it's basically a cow's milk version of Valense, it's also a slight bit of bee linen's migration, as you can see, just a little bit, but at least the white mould's holding it at bay. But that looks really good too. Fantastic looking cheese. This one here is Knockalost, which was discussed in Ask the Cheeseman a few episodes back. It is a Norwegian cheese with cardamom infused milk and caraway seeds. It's meant to have cloves also, but I usually replace the cloves with cumin seeds, and the flavour is great. That looks like a fantastic cheese. I love the way the rind is well formed as well. You certainly don't get that with vacuum packing. You only get that when you naturally age a cheese like Anthony is in his fridge there. This one is, it says, last but not least, this is Port Salut, which turned out lovely. I would love to figure out how to age washed rind cheeses alongside others without the risk of bee linens migrating all over them, and wondering if you have any tips that you may be able to share. Given the limited space I currently have and voracious appetite for cheese making, I'd like to keep a nice variety on hand. Yes, I do have a tip. Ripening boxes are your friend. When you've got cheeses that you don't want to cross-contaminate with, say, washed rind cheeses contaminating white mould cheeses like you've experienced, then it's best to use a ripening box for the one you don't want to contaminate, and keeps them separate. So it'll keep the humidity up in there as well, because the moisture stays trapped, but make sure that you at least turn them and clean them at least once a week to give the ripening box a little bit of airflow so the cheese doesn't start to go manky and anaerobic. So further comments from Anthony says, I love what I've seen in the books so far, which arrived today. I sent Anthony some books. He bought them from the store. I can't wait to get into the kitchen with some milk and your books. Cheers, Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate it. Fantastic looking cheeses, one and all. But yeah, use a ripening box for those washed rind cheeses, and you'll find that the other ones won't get as contaminated. Okay. Fantastic cheeses too, mate, by the way. Okay, this next one is from Constanzo. Constanzo has a note. Where is it? Here it is. Says, Gavin, this is my brie. They have been in the ripening box for 10 days, and there are some brown spots. Okay, let's just zoom in on that. Can't see any brown spots. Oh, maybe there. It's not too bad. I've seen worse than that. Should I wrap them or keep them in the ripening box for a bit longer? P.S. I've used 6 litres of milk at 3.25% fat. I would wrap them now, mate. Definitely. Let's have a look. They look perfect. Yeah, perfect. Wrap them now and mature them for the rest of the time. And you won't have any issues. That brown spot won't come to anything, so I think that'll be fine. Okay, we have a video this time. This one's from Habib. Where's the video gone? So I'll run the video first, and then we'll I'll see if I can freeze frame it. I don't know how we're going to go. Here we go. So this is the video from Habib. He's showing us his cheese fridge, and looks like some spiced meat that he's made himself as well. I do have a note here. So this is very cool. I love a little video. Now, Habib sent this to me via a Dropbox link, and I downloaded it because you can't really send them via email. But he's got so many cheeses there, which we'll talk about in a second. Where are we? So, that's not what I'm looking. These are not the droids I'm looking for. All right, here we go. It said, Gavin, during the last live streams, I heard you say we can send small videos. Of course. So here it is, quick video of the Cheese Cave, which is basically an upright bottle fridge that was initially made for soda drinks. It is modified to cool down to 9 degrees Celsius, and when turned on, the temperature goes up to 13. So overall, I'm happy with the 11.5 degrees Celsius. The first Cheeseman of Italian hard-style cheese I made, and then a precious bottle of spiced mead, following your exact recipe, of course. Of course. It's delicious. I've still got one bottle left that I'm savouring. I'll have that at Christmas because spice mead to me means Christmas, which is cool. The second one was an Alpine style. Both cheeses are being rubbed with olive oil now once or twice a week, as you can see, and those nasty black spots of mould are so hard to keep at bay. Third cheese is from 2 days ago and is a Gruyere style, following your recipe, which is same as Giannicus Caldwell's, I suppose. Yeah, I didn't get it from that book. I can't remember which book I got it from, but it wasn't from that one. But yeah, look, they're mostly the same anyway. And I tend to go for a natural rind now for at least 2 months before vacuuming. The rest are howders infused with cumin, caraway and fennel, paprika rubbed, saffron infused cheese, and of course some cloth-bound cheddars with all the mould around them and many more. All vac packed and stacked. At the top right, the Alpine cheese washed with mead following your recipe. Said, I intend to make some bloomy whites in the coming days to prepare for Christmas. Do you think white mould will contaminate all the other cheeses that are still ripening with a natural rind? Yes, I do. I do think they will contaminate, so use a ripening box. To note, at the top of the fridge there is a continuous running fan that blows air from top to bottom. I've had no issues with over drying because I have the humidity always above 80% relative humidity. Best regards and cheese, Habib. Thanks, Habib, for sending that video in. It was lovely. It's good to have a little bit of variety, so that's very cool. Thanks, mate. Okay, moving right along in the gallery. Let's get back to the gallery. Here we are. The next one is from Nolan. Nolan says, hello, Mr. Gavin. I've attached 2 images of my smoked paprika kefili. Texture is fantastic. Smoked paprika comes through quite a bit. I've had quite a few holes in it due to my pressing technique. We'll be making this one again. Next time I'll incorporate some chili powder into the paprika rub. So that's the first photo. That looks lovely little coverage there. And there's the cut. Look, can I just make an observation, Nolan, that kefilis do have holes or mechanical holes in them. You don't press them very hard. So they do tend, they're a fresh cheese anyway. So three weeks maturation, as far as I'm concerned, is fresh. But the flavour for them are outstanding. I've always never been disappointed with a kefili, whether I've rubbed it with stuff or not. But this version in particular, the smoky paprika one, is particularly delicious. It just has a little certain extra, which is from the smoky paprika, of course. But rarely do I see a kefili that the holes, the paste is fully closed up, like a fully aged cheddar, which, you know, takes ages to mature. So don't beat yourself up about it. I think the pressing is fine. The rind was closed off, so yeah, all good. So well done. And thanks for sending in your photo. The next photo is from Ruth. And Ruth, I don't know if you're in the chat. I haven't seen you today. But it says, hi Gavin, here is what I have so far for the gallery. So she's got a raclette there she's been keeping an eye on. And there's the inside, so that looks lovely. I hope that's going to be a very melty cheese. Cultured with love. Absolutely fantastic. And here's your little label. I love your little labels, Ruth. They're cool. It says raclette melts where you want it to. Very cool. It's a take on M&M's. Melts in the mouth, not in the hand, I think that is. Culture with love. Thank you, Ruth, for sending those in. It says, hopefully I'll be able to join you in the chat this week. Sending love to you and Kim and all the doggos. Love, Ruth. Thank you, Ruth. So, moving right along. We've seen Ruth's raclette. Let's just have a look at that again. Very nice inside. Okay. So this is sent in by Shauna, who's in the chat. It says, hi Gavin and Kim, I've had a busy week so far, and it's only Wednesday, so she sent this to me Wednesday night. A Cotswold, a Budakaiser air drying, and a Colby in the press. Very nice indeed. Thank you, and I really like the new plastic mats. Shauna, thank you, Shauna. Yeah, we couldn't find plastic mats from the other manufacturers, so we scoured all over the place to find these ones here. So they are very nice, and they're very flexible, and you can cut them to shape, which is good too. So well done on your 3 cheeses, Cotswold, Budakäse, and your Colby. Very cool indeed. And I like the little drying, so you've got a rack in a plastic box and then the plastic mat on top. So that's very cool. So you can get it away from the sink area that, you know, people tend to use during the day. So well done, Shauna. Thank you so much for sending that photo in. I think this is last but not least. Do we have... Who's this from? This is from Tracy. Cheeseneeds.com. She runs a shop out of in British Columbia in Canada. So it says, "Hey Gavin, I hope you're doing well. Had notification that your book is in Canada." We sent a book to Tracy as well. And it's already on its way, so I'm very excited. This week I finally tried my queso de marron, I think it's how you say it, cheese, test cheese, which is made from cow's milk, pasteurized, treated with Tech Plus, which is an LPRA equivalent. You rub this down weekly with oil and paprika to keep mold off the exterior. When it's ready, you don't scrape it off. It stays on the rind. Okay, cool. The taste is fantastic. I cannot believe how fast Christmas is coming. It's -15 Celsius here and snowing. I hope you're enjoying your spring summer. Take care. Tracy. Thank you, Tracy, for sending that photo in. Looks absolutely fantastic. I love the colour, of course. And the paste looks fantastic. You didn't say how long you aged it for. If you're in the chat, just yeah, let me know, because you haven't said how long you aged the cheese for. But it looks fantastic. I'd love to see the recipe and try to replicate that. It looks like a lovely looking cheese. Now, that's it for the gallery. So, how do you send photos to Gav, like all those other really cool curd nerds? If you want to be a cool curd nerd and send a photo to Gav, then you can. You can send it like this. Here we go. So you go to the channel, Gavin Webber. That's me. Or you're probably already watching it already. And you go to the About tab, just over here. About. And down here, you go to Details for Business Inquiries, and you can click there and you'll see a little email. So yeah, send your photos to that email, or send your links to videos, whether you post them on YouTube or Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever method you use for storing your videos. Then send me the link, and I'll put the little video into the stream as well. But yeah, photos, send them in. Whether you have a success or failure, I don't mind either way. We learn from our failures or mistakes. I won't say they're not failures, because no cheese is a failure. You can always eat it unless it's really bad. And then you give it to the chickens, so that's fine. So that's how you send in the photos. But that email address there. Okay. So let's get back to some questions. There are lots. Where is it? Can I catch that one? Right. Yes. So that's the first one I can catch in my little box to catch the things. It says, "Hi Gavin, we just this is from GRHMBRKS. Don't know how to say that, but hi Gavin, we've tasted our first attempt at Guido's recipe after 5 months in the fridge. It tasted great and was pretty firm, but it had more holes than your version." Okay. Don't know why that is, but could have been the type of culture you used, maybe. Could have it could have produced some sort of gas, or CO2 usually, to make the holes. Now it depends on what the shape of the holes were and the colour in the holes. If the holes were shiny, then they're usually produced by gas. If they're not shiny and they're irregular shaped, then it's due to lack of pressure on the cheese. Guido's cheese, I think, was pressed at 50 pounds or 22.5 kilos. So, yeah. Okay. Tony says, those cheeses looked amazing. Hi, Gavin. This is Tony from Maryland. Hi, Tony. And yeah, they did, didn't they? They were fantastic. Some other questions. Let's have a look. Herb says, I have to get me one of those Manchego forms. Yeah, me too. I've got to see if I can find some. Tracy from Cheese Needs in Canada gave me the link to a wholesaler in Spain to get those sort of moulds. But I looked at the prices, and what he wanted to ship to Australia was just excessive. I'd never be able to sell them. We were talking about like 150 euros, so yeah, it was just way over the top. So I can't sell those, unfortunately. Fun Pants says, does calcium chloride serve a purpose outside of helping set a curd? I've been following a Colby recipe from 200 Easy Cheeses, but it's been turning out bitter. No, it doesn't serve any other purpose other than adding soluble calcium back into the milk after it's been heat treated. It doesn't do anything else. If you use too much, then it is bitter, because if you taste it, you can taste it. It's not going to hurt you. It is really bitter as it is already. Just like if you taste rennet, liquid rennet, that's bitter as well. So the more you add, the more bitter the cheese is going to get. However, bitterness can be caused by a few things, Nolan, and that is lack of salt. So lack of salt speeds up the breakdown of the fats and proteins in the cheese that isn't controlled in the way that the recipe maker was aiming for. So check your salt levels for your cheese. So I would actually, that Colby recipe, I would add more salt to that, especially if your cheese is turning out bitter at the time that it says to mature it at. Or ease back on the calcium chloride just a little bit. If you're using raw milk, 9 times out of 10, you don't need to use calcium chloride because it hasn't been destroyed. The calcium is still present in the milk and able to form the casein matrix. So there you go. And you've said that. I'd like to scale back on the calcium chloride since I'll think it'll set with less than it's called for. Indeed, try that. Next question is from is there a question? Let's have a look. Donna says, for curd nerds in Australia, there is a new series called Cheese, A Love Story, starting at 7:30 tonight on SBS. That is a good tip. SBS is our special broadcast service here in Australia. It's I won't say it's free to air, and you can stream it. I'm pretty sure there is an app, an SBS app. 7:30 tonight. I'll have a look. Cheese, A Love Story. Very cool. Thank you very much for that, Donna. Appreciate it. So yeah, so that's my my Sunday night. I'll have to convince Kim to watch it. It was going to be date night tonight, so maybe it'll be date night with cheese. And we've still got some cream cheese left from the cheese balls after the taste test. We've got some of that left, so we can have some of that on some nice Turkish bread or sourdough. So that would be lovely. Well done. What other questions do we have? It's probably, what time is it? We've got 10 minutes to go. Time for a joke. I haven't done a joke for a while, have I? Alrighty. Here we go. What did one cheddar say to the other cheddar at prom? At prom? What? At the prom, maybe. I'll do that again. What did one cheddar cheese say to the other cheddar cheese at the prom? Looking sharp. Goodness me. Here's another lame joke. What is a cheese lover's favourite track and field event? The Curdles. My goodness. These are the lamest cheese jokes I've ever had. All right, here's another one. What do you bring... What do you always bring a bag of chips to a part... hang on a minute. There's a malfunction in this cheese maker. That's better. Right. Why do you always bring a bag of chips to a party? In queso emergency. Get it? Queso is cheese in Spanish. There we go. Alrighty. What did the cheese say to the other cheese? I smell something suspicious. Goodness me. I'm sure I'm going to have to find some more jokes because these ones are just way too lame. Anyway, I'm sure we've got some more questions there. Here we go. C. Scarson's been talking a lot about moulds. What about forest moulds? They are blue too, not like gorgonzola. How do you handle these moulds with yogurt? Look, I'm not a microbiologist, and I've never professed to be, so I don't know the different types of wild penicillium moulds that are out there. Whether they can be harmful to you, whether they can be bitter, I just don't know. I just know that when you buy a packet of Penicillium Roqueforti, you can buy fast acidifiers or slow acidifiers. There are different strains. We have mild and strong that we sell. And there are a few other liquid ones as well that you can buy. And they will not harm you. Whereas wild moulds may do. So that's all I know. Anthony says, I can't believe there are date nights without cheese. Indeed, mate. You need cheese on a date night, as far as I'm concerned. Both Kim and I love cheese, as you well know, all the cheeses. And we love a good date night too, on the weekend. We kind of, because we run a business together, we're in each other's pockets, 24/7 basically. And to get out of the business frame of mind, that's why we have a date night, and we reconnect, which is good. Okay, Peter says, you missed my question on if you'd come up with a tip preventing pink cheese. Never experienced it, Peter, and sorry if I missed your question, but I've only got a limited time to display the pictures, so the comments on the screen. That's just the way this system works. So yeah, if there's lots of comments scrolling through, I cannot get back to them. My screen's just not big enough. But preventing pink cheese. Good question. I don't know that one. That's one question I just don't know. I haven't experienced it personally. I haven't had pink mold in the on my cheese, so don't know. Sorry about that. Joanna says, really happy I found a place that provides fresh, raw, unhomogenized milk out of the cow on the same day. Well done, Joanna. Yeah, there are some dairies that will do that. They're obviously in Australia, most states in Australia, the sale of raw milk has been banned as a public health service, apparently, because people don't know how to handle it compared to pasteurised milk. Now, for cheesemakers like us, I don't think there would be any issues. We'd use it within 3 days, definitely, and in fact use it as soon as you get it, which lowers the risk of contamination by other bacteria. So, yeah, and Joanna says, mine is in the UK, so it's legal, which is good. So, yeah, so well done. But yeah, you got to use it quickly. Don't leave it in the fridge for weeks and weeks on end. It will become contaminated. It is the perfect medium for bacteria to grow in. That's why cheesemakers use milk, and milk is the lifeblood of cheese. So yeah, fantastic. Cheese needs... Oh, Tracy says, Donna, Cheese, A Love Story is by Afram Pristine. He's a really nice guy. I met him. That's nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Tracy. Peter says that my milk comes from the farm within 2 hours of milking, warm from the cow. I have to cool it. Fantastic, Peter, and I dare say that's probably why you've got so many amazing cheeses that I've seen in those photos that I've seen previously that you've sent in to the gallery. So well done, mate. But yeah, if you can get yourself some fresh milk, then it is perfect. Like I said, I can't get any because it's illegal to buy or for the farmer to sell it to me. So that's why I use second best, which is pasteurised but unhomogenised milk, and that certainly does set a good curd. I've never had any issues with any of the cheeses that I've made, certainly since I switched to that type of milk. Now, if you're using store-bought milk, the pasteurised and homogenised, expect a weaker curd set because the homogenisation process is basically passing the milk through a micro sieve or mesh, and it breaks up the fat globules so they don't rise to the top again. So the fat has been tampered with, and the flavours in the cheese will be a bit different. And like I said, the curd set will be weaker. Hence, with all heat-treated milk anyway, you need to add a little bit of calcium chloride. Joanna says, sorry, when I said the UK, I was not correct. It's legal in England and Wales, but illegal in Scotland. Oh, well, there you go. Thanks for that information. CL says, is it illegal for the farmer to gift raw milk also, or use it to make their own home use products as long as they're not selling it? Yes. As far as I know, no, they're not allowed to even give it away as far as the law goes from Food Standards Victoria. So, but they can use it for themselves. That's not an issue, and they can't sell it, of course. Yeah, that's what I know. Anthony says, in Florida we have milk for pet consumption only, wink wink. Yeah, we did too. That's what they used to sell it at, pet milk or bath milk they used to call it, Anthony, here in Victoria, until they changed the law, until some children got really sick drinking 2-week-old raw milk. Basically, their parents didn't know, I suppose, that it can become contaminated, even in the fridge. So, Paul says, I just started pressing a 5-pound Cheshire with raw milk. Well done, Paul. I hope that turns out really well for you. Cheshire is a lovely cheese. I do like it a lot. Okay, that's it for the show this week, I think. Let's have a look. Yes, we've got 2 minutes to go. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I've been Gavin Webber, your host, and hopefully I've answered as many questions as I possibly can this week. If you want to ask more questions, then the best way, of course, to get my attention is to do a super chat. I know I should have said that at the start of the show, but Seal figured it out. So well done, and thank you for your kind super chat. But now we're wrapping up the show. Don't do any super chats, guys, because they just won't come. But if you want to learn how to make cheese in a structured method, then pop over to the Curd Nerd Academy, courses.littlegreenworkshops.com.au, and you can learn how to make 9 cheeses, plus all the information that you need to become successful in video, and there's printable recipes and the whole works. It's great stuff. And if you want to buy any supplies, pop over to littlegreenworkshops.com.au. Have a cheese making section there that's very comprehensive. Yeah, lots of people buy stuff from there, including my books. Don't forget the books. If you haven't got your copy yet, I'm still binding them. I'm the one that makes these books, so I make them bind them, with the spiral bindy thing, which we find is perfect because, yeah, I know a bit of a sales plug, but you can open them up, fold them over, and it doesn't crease the spine of the book. So, and you can write on it, do whatever you like with it. Make cheese with it, hopefully. But yeah, the books are really good. Quite proud of them, actually. And last but not least, if you want to get some merch like this cool t-shirt, certified curd nerd, or the cups, or there's heaps, and you can see that in the merch shelf below, but go to merch.cheeseman.tv and you can pick up yourself a bargain there, and a Christmas present for yourself or somebody else who loves cheese. So, very cool. Well, thanks for watching, Curd Nerds. I will see you on Wednesday. There's a Wednesday show, and on Sunday, the same time this one was on. 2 shows a week now, which is absolutely fantastic. And it's due to the financial members of the show that helps keep 2 shows a week. So thanks, everybody. And we will see you next week. Don't forget, there'll be some videos out this week, so check your feeds for those. All right, thanks for watching, Curd Nerds, and I'll see you next time.